But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. See you in a moment.
Besides God, who did you count on to help you get through this week?
Oh man, that is excellent. Let me go in order. Man, my wife, Shantae Storrs, is very instrumental in getting me through a period of loss. Even today, going through the loss of transitioning from Lake Street to where we are today. There's a grieving process there as well. But man, having a spouse who allows you space to process, who encourages you at the right time and the right moment, but also gives you that, okay, now, all right, let's get up and do what needs to be done. So first and foremost, her, my wife. Secondly, man, my friends. And people know that we're friends as well as colleagues, but we're more like brothers. And God have blessed me with a handful of friends that are really, really friends that you could converse with, who won't use your vulnerabilities to exploit you, to hurt you, to tear you down. I already got enough people on that side trying to tear me down, but you got people who honestly and lovingly listen and don't try to fix me. They don't try to correct me, but just listen. And sometimes that's all you need, is somebody to listen to you. And I know that circle is tight. You know who's in that circle. That circle is very tight. Circle is very small because people can't handle your humanity. And with people, since most people can't handle your humanity, man, I'm very selective in who I talk to. And some people get upset by that because they ain't in a circle. And I don't understand why folk would get mad at someone like me who's in a pastoral position and not get mad at Jesus. Jesus had Peter, James, and John out of the 12, who he took to different places because of the level of their vulnerability. They could handle the weight, they can see you in your vulnerabilities. I guess folk think since I'm their pastor that I'm supposed to always be their friend. That ain't the case. It's not wired like that. So my friend, and then man, hobbies. I have hobbies that allow me to self-medicate, allow me to take the edge off and allow me to be who I am. And then I have sisters. My sisters, they also serve a important role. We call ourselves the Fantastic Five. And there's a level of vulnerability with them and transparency. But some of the things I share with my inner circle, I don't share with my sisters because they're all women. So with my wife and my sisters, they're going to love me differently. My friends, my male friends, they're going to love me differently. But that creates that balance that keeps me going in the midst of going through a season of loss.
Wow. That's powerful, man. And hey, I feel you on all of those.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
I totally agree. And I can say for myself, man, you've helped me out a whole lot during my process of grieving and still grieving. I believe that's something we deal with daily. We'll talk more about that on the next slide. But yeah, man, you helped me out a lot. So I just want to say it publicly, man. And we're going to talk about that as well, who you need to be around when you're going through grief. And man, you were there for me, man. I'm going to try not to cry, y'all. But, during my time,
he will cry in public places.
During the times of, my yes, I will. I'm not ashamed. Real men cry.
That's right. That's a true Jeremiah. We don't cry. We lament.
That's it. We lament.
We're lamenting, right?
Yes, sir. But man, I just want to tell you, bro, man, how proud I am of you, man. How much I appreciate you. Like I said, man, you've been there day one, man. Especially when I started this grieving process with my grandmother back after your father passed away in '99,
Yeah.
My dad in 2004, my mom in 2011, my brother in 2020, and my uncle 2020, then his wife this past week. So, man, I tell anybody, if you don't have any good friends, man, you need to go pray tonight and ask God to give you at least one good friend. And
Come
if
on,
you got
man.
more than one, you blessed.
One
And I
one
tell
good
people all
friend
the time,
where you can
I'm a
be
blessed man.
yourself.
Yes, sir. Yep. That's key right there. A friend you can be yourself around. If you can't be yourself around them, it just might not be your friend.
And that's how you find out they're not
And
your
as
friend.
as we often say, exactly. And I tell people all the time, okay, how many friends you got on Facebook? They're not all your friends. Trust me.
And
Probably 95% of them.
yeah. And let me say this one more
Yes,
time,
sir.
brother. Let me say this one more time. You really rarely know someone until you hire them, fire them, marry them,
Good.
live with them, or say no to them.
Mm.
And when you have that
Wow.
in front of you, then you can really ascertain who they are. And that's what I love about us, man. We get together. We don't even talk about church life. We don't even talk about people.
Yeah.
We talk about each other, but
Yeah.
but I've learned anybody that
Right.
talks about someone to you will talk about you. And
Mm.
that gives me that
Yes,
litmus
sir.
test. So man, you said it and I'll repeat it again, man. Find some people you can get around to help you through that process.
Yes, sir. Man. Man, I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining. You got a minute? I'm gonna see if anybody got a few questions
Let's do
before
it.
we get out of here.
Let's do it.
But thanks again for joining us, man. Anybody have a few questions that we can ask you? I'm gonna give you about 1 minute to ask them.
I'm about to be
See
your
if I see
digital
any here that we
pastor.
can ask.
I'm about to be your digital pastor. Let me see
All
who's
right.
in the chat. Let me see who's in the chat.
Thank God, y'all. I got a DP, baby.
I'm a DP and I'm DPing for my man tonight. Who do we have in the chat? All right, let's see. Oh, they blowing up over here. All right.
Man.
I'm looking, I'm scrolling, and I'm looking. Dr. Bounds, she said, thank you for always being there to assist your people. My pleasure. So glad to do that. All right.
Yes, sir.
This is y'all's time. Y'all got any questions, comments, or anything?
Yep.
I'd love to share. Love to answer any questions. And Facebook is usually about a good 7 to 15 seconds behind. So just give it a little time and see. From when we say something, there's a gap between when they actually hear it. All right, we have a statement. Man, I'm sitting here trying to put the comments on the screen like we're streaming. All right, check this out.
DP, are you with me?
Oh yeah. All right, here we are. All right, let's go. Lasonda says, sounds like everything that you lose that's dear to you is a grieving period. Lasonda, flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. That is so true, because grieving is not just tied to a person. It can be tied to a season. It can be tied to a career. It could be tied to a friendship. It could be tied to, like I mentioned, Mars Hill, and we'll talk about that at some later point of leaving Lake Street and moving and transitioning to Mars Hill anywhere. We're grieving right now as a church. And since some people don't know how to process that grief, then it manifests in anger. It can manifest in gossip and things of that sort because they lost something. And anytime you lose something, it hurts. And if you don't know how to process that correctly, then you find yourself grieving inappropriately. And that's why during this season and in dealing with the loss that we have, some people ask me, well, are you mad, at this person or because you don't see that person? I'm like, no, I really do understand. They're just manifesting grief inappropriately. And as you and I talk, we're more disappointed in a person's behavior, but never mad, never mad. So yes, it's grief is not just relegated to people. All right, let you comment while I go and check the comment section for questions.
All right. Yeah, I see one. I see one question for you. Cerise says, "Do you think a person should seek therapy when grieving?"
Absolutely.
Cerise Mayfield asked the question.
Absolutely.
Yes.
today for my podcast, I interviewed, and y'all stay tuned for this shameless plug, Reverend Dr. Ebony Only
Yes,
of
sir.
Only One Consulting, and she works with grief care, and it's something that we're partnering with at Mars Hill as we come out of COVID to set up a opportunity for people to walk through the process of grieving. And she shared earlier today, number one, it's time to see someone when you feel stuck and you can't move on. It's time to see someone when things that are beyond your control begin to take control of you. So for those who are there and listening, check this out. It's okay to have theology and a therapist. It's okay to see your priest and a psychologist. It's okay to have Christ and a couch. And as a pastor, I know when to refer out. And sometimes these things are beyond my pay grade. And I know coming out of COVID and partnering with Only One Consulting, y'all can look her up. She's phenomenal. That these are the things that are beyond us. And when we don't know enough, it's time to refer. So yeah, get you some Jesus and a couch and work through that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes Jesus, a couch, and some medicine, so it's okay.
Yes, Lord. You need that thing need to be calibrated. It needs to be brought back into balance.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And I also have some therapy too. I got to put my man Plug in. If you don't have this book, you need to get this book.
Yeah, man.
Find and enjoy the Spice Life Hardship. Yes, sir. You need this book if you don't have it.
There you go.
It'll help you. It'll save, as my man said, it'll save you a copay.
It'll save you a copay. It'll save you a copay. All right. Let's see what we have. All right. Sydney says, what are some steps to deal with grief? You want to tackle that, and I'll come in and add on?
Yes. That's a few of them we're going to cover as well in the next episode as well. But one step we already mentioned, that's finding the right people to grieve too. That's one of the biggest steps. Well, first of all, we know the first one is God. Then the second one, you need to surround yourself around the right people. And if that's the first step I took. I won't even say I took. I was blessed with, because God had me surrounded with the right people, especially the right friends, because actually I was almost mad at my friends some days. The days it seemed like I wanted to cry, my friends was like, let's go. I'm coming to get you. Where we going here? It really didn't give me a chance to just break down like I wanted to. Eventually it came, but man, that support meant a lot. So you need that person or persons that's going to pull you away, let you cry on their shoulders and tell you it's okay. And hey, that's one step. That's one big step. That was one of my biggest steps that helped me. I tell people all the time, I'm just helping one of my brothers now. He just buried his sister, and I've been talking to him during the process while she was fighting cancer, just trying to encourage him and let him know, be that space for him, because like I told him, I say, man, I had friends that came and got me, man. So I invited them to my house, and man, we had a good time, cried a little bit, ate a little bit, had a little fun, and anything to take that load off you, because it's heavy. Grief is heavy, and if you don't find a way to release it, man, it'll overtake you. And one thing you don't want to do is find yourself isolated. So that's another step. Don't isolate yourself, because that's the enemy's battleground. Because I could be transparent. Even when my brother died, I didn't know I was in shock, but I was in shock as I sat, in my house. My son was over playing his game, and he normally closes my blinds. And so for a few days, I came in the house and it was dark, and I really wasn't paying attention. But I was sitting in one spot for maybe about 4 or 5 days, and then I heard that voice say, "Boy, get up. It's not a good place to be." And what I did? I got up. I didn't turn on no church music. I turned on some house music.
Did you dance, man?
Turned on some house music. Man, I danced. I cleaned up the house, and I was back to normal. Almost back to normal. But yeah, you need that person. You need that person or those persons in your life, and also you need to not isolate yourself. Those are the first, 2 major steps I would give.
And let me add to that. First, name your grief. Name your grief. God already knows, but naming your grief helps you to specifically state how you feel. Lord, I am hurt that I lost my job, or this relationship, or this parent, this spouse, this kid, and you be specific as you can. Name it, because naming it then allows you to frame it. Because the next part is, Lord, bring into balance and bring into my life, the balance that I need to walk through. With grief, there is shock, there is anger, then there is acceptance, and then there is renewal in being made whole. So by naming it and then framing it and then walking through that process of grief, and that's when the friends come along. And if you're part of a community group, got to put a shameless plug in there why it's so good to be a part of that. They can help you. And not trying to be someone's doctor or therapist. We are saying, hey, if you sensing that person is down, hey, I'm coming over. Hey, meet me here. Hey, let's do A, B, and C. And in that way, you give that person a relief from the pressure. If you don't release pressure, pressure tends to build up, and then eventually it'll burst.
Nice.
Oh, man, here's a good one, man. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God. All right, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Lean in. Here we go. Rachel. Did I pronounce it right? Is that Rachel Lanier? If I pronounced your name wrong, then I apologize. All right. Check this one out. Oh, my God. Here we go. How do you feel about praying to see a spirit of a loved one who has transitioned to tell them goodbye? Is that spiritual or not? Well, y'all, it's been good being on the phone, being on Facebook Live. Rev Timo gonna handle this, and I'm just kidding. Oh my God, it's about to get thick. Oh my God.
Loaded one.
Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Now, the 30,000-foot overview. Now, this is a very complex subject. So what I'm going to do is give the high-level overview of this. There is an instance in Scripture where this happened. Saul, and this is the First Samuel. I believe 1 Samuel chapter 28, and this is the account of the witch of Endor in the summoning Samuel, and as it's mentioned, and it's the only biblical account of someone being visited in such a manner by someone who is deceased. Now Saul, he deprived himself of every little legitimate means of spiritual input, results in his disobedience, his rebellion, and he summons someone from the dead. And in the process of doing that, this passage doesn't give us the reason to believe that he did it, or the reasonings behind he did it, but he did it. And by him doing it, it puts us in a precarious situation to understand it, because when you start walking in things of this matter, Satan would like nothing more for his people to dabble in what we call the world of the occult. It just opens up pathways, avenues, and other ways for the enemy to come in and deceive us. You got to remember, Scripture defines the enemy as an angel of light. Lucifer is often depicted as something that's ugly, something that's horrific, but no. We got to remember he was the archangel up there with Gabriel and Michael, in charge of all the worship. That's why music is so moving, because he was in control of that. He was a walking instrument, and because of that, we got to be very careful when we do that, because we just opened up too many pathways for the enemy to come in and deceive. And so in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 14 and 15, God declares these practices to be abhorrent to him. And people who practice those things in Israel during that period of time, were actually put to death. So we got to remember, there's no reason to believe that a deceased person has any ability to leave heaven or to leave hell in order to visit living family members. And if that tends to happen, then I would lean more so towards it being a moment of deception as opposed to this actually happening. And that's why the people who live with us and the loved ones, we internalize the lessons that we've learned, and a piece of them continues to live on in us. And even the story of Lazarus and the rich ruler, the rich man, they could see what was happening, but they were not able to leave. So therefore, we are bound in our choice, which is why we are called to accept Christ in this lifetime. And when we are bound and sealed in that choice, I believe that it's permanent and forever. Well, that was a tough one. Thank you for asking.
That was loaded.
She says, you hear people mention this,
right.
So I was brave to ask. Thank you for asking. Yeah, a couple of passages to write down.
Yeah.
Let me share this. A couple of passages to write down is on 2 Corinthians, chapter 11, verses 14 through 15. And this is when we know that there's no reason to believe that a deceased person has the ability to leave heaven or hell in order to visit living family members. Again, it just opens up pathways for deception. And as we saw in 1 Samuel, chapter 28, verses 7 through 20.
Oh, thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, sir. Thank you for joining us, man. Thank everybody for the questions. It's 8:59. Well, it's 9 o'clock now, so we spent that hour, and I think it's been productive, man. Really appreciate your time, man, and your gifts. Thank you for sharing, and thank everybody for joining. We're gonna sign off, and don't forget, man. You wanna where you can put your information in the chat?
Oh yeah.
Your book.
Okay.
Well, I'll put it in there.
And Amazon, yeah, I can drop the link. Let me drop the link before you sign off. It's on Amazon. It's about finding joy despite life's hardships.
Man.
And while you're purchasing the book, do me a favor and leave a 5-star review. I'd greatly appreciate that as well. So I'm typing it. Let me see.
There you go.
All right, finding joy.
And if you don't have this book,
all right, I got it right
Life's
here.
Hardships. If you don't have this book, you need it. I'm telling you.
It's on Kindle and on paperback. All right, there you go. Bam, just drop the link.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone. Well, thank you all for joining tonight. I'm gonna let you all get back to your dinner and your movies and sports. And we pray you have a good night. Hopefully, something was said that helped you all tonight. And we look forward to you all coming back. Hopefully, we can help somebody and we can all heal together. All right. So God bless you all. Thanks for coming once again, Bishop. Man, thank you for your time and looking forward to the next time, bro.
My pleasure, bro. Till the next time.
All right, everybody. You all have a good night.
Peace, y'all.
God bless you all. That's a wrap for this episode of Talk It Over with Timo. But we're not done yet. This conversation continues next week. You don't want to miss it. We're diving even deeper, bringing more insight, more stories, and of course, more real talk. So make sure you tune in, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, stay locked in, stay inspired, and keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining. See you next week on Talk It Over with Timo.